here we go for another question video on the topic of inheritance. So let's just get started. So again, first try these questions by yourself. I always recommend that, okay? Test yourself out. So which is a feature of sex-linked genes in humans? So again, what are sex-linked genes? We know that humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, one chromosome from each parent, right? And the last pair of chromosomes, the 23rd pair, is our sex chromosomes, the X and Y chromosome. If you're a male, you have one X and one Y chromosome, the Y one from your dad and the X from your mom. And if you're female, you have two X chromosomes, one from your dad and one from your mom, right? Now, these chromosomes all carry specific genes, right? For example, one X-linked gene, so one sex-linked gene, one gene that is on the X chromosome is hemophilia. Hemophilia is when you cannot control your bleeding. Whenever you get a cut, you bleed forever, okay? So this is just one example of a sex-linked gene, okay? So they occur on the sex chromosomes. So now what is a feature of sex-linked genes in humans? So A, males can only be heterozygous. Remember, heterozygous means having one dominant and one recessive allele, okay? Hetero meaning different, so you have two different alleles, one dominant and one recessive. Is this true? Absolutely not, because males have one X and one Y chromosome. So say we're talking about this specific gene here, this gene. As a male, you only have one allele because you only have one X chromosome. So it's impossible to have two alleles because the Y chromosomes carry completely different genes. It doesn't carry the hemophilia gene. So as a male, you can only have one allele. So you cannot be heterozygous because to be able to be heterozygous, you need to have two X chromosomes. You need to be a female. So it cannot be A. How about B? Females can only be homozygous for a gene. So females, apparently, according to this one, B, can only be homozygous, meaning they can only have two of the same alleles, two recessive or two dominant. Now, is that true? Absolutely not, because we can have a female here, for example, X chromosome, and the gene from her dad is dominant, but the gene from her mom is recessive, or vice versa. Or even, they can have, so this is heterozygous, but she can also be homozygous because one gene, she could get the gene that's dominant from her dad and also a gene that is dominant from her mom, right? So she can be homozygous or heterozygous. So they're saying here can only be homozygous. So therefore, this is wrong. They can be homozygous, but not only. How about C? Males can be either heterozygous or homozygous. So either or, okay? Either heterozygous or homozygous. But because we know they cannot be heterozygous, we automatically know this question is wrong, okay? Because they're saying they can be either heterozygous, no, they can't be. So it cannot be C either. So it's got to be D. Just by eliminating the first three already, A, B, and C, we know the answer must be D. But let's just confirm it. Females can be either heterozygous or homozygous. That's true. I just said that. They can either be heterozygous like this female here, or they can be homozygous if both their parents gave a dominant allele or a recessive allele. Okay, so this one is correct. D is correct. Okay, let's move on. Next one. So try again by yourself, right? So a Punnett grid shows the inheritance of blood groups. So based on this picture here, we can see that one of the parents has the alleles big I, big A, big I, big B, and the other parent has the allele big I, big A, and small I. And we can see that this is the combination or the possibilities that their offspring will have, okay? Now, real quick, what do we need to know about blood groups to be able to understand this question? So we need to know that if we look into our DNA, right, our chromosome that carries our blood type is on chromosome 9, okay? And basically, we have three possible alleles that can determine our blood type. We can see the rock here got one allele from the dad and one allele from the mom, right? And he got, apparently, the recessive allele, so I, small I, and the one dominant allele, big I, big B. So the combination of these two will make him have blood type B. So let's look here. So big I, big B, and small I, that's blood type B, because we know the IB is dominant compared to the recessive I. So any of these three combinations will give us our blood type, okay? I'm showing you in this little table here. Importantly, you need to know that these two are co-dominant, these two. So when they are both, for example, if the rock had big I, big B, and big I, big A, so these two, he would be blood type AB, okay? Because none of them are more superior than the other. They both matter equally. So they will both be expressed, and hence you won't have just blood type A or just blood type B. You'll have both. You'll have blood type AB. Okay, so the only way you can have blood type O is if you have two of these recessive alleles, okay, because they don't matter. So the only way, I mean, they are weak, they're recessive. So the only way you can express O is if both of your alleles from your parents were lowercase I, okay? So that's what you need to know to be able to answer this question. So what is the ratio of phenotypes of the offspring? So we can see phenotypes means basically, are they blood group A, B, C, G, AB, AB, are they A, B, AB, or O, right? Any of the four combinations possible. So we can see here, the first one is saying a 1-to-1 ratio of blood groups A to B. So we can see that two of the possibilities will lead to blood group A, and one of the possibilities will lead to blood group B. So that's wrong, because it'll be a 2-to-1 ratio, 2A to 1B, right? Because this one here is blood group AB, since A and B are co-dominant. So definitely not A. How about B? A 1-to-1 ratio of blood groups A, AB, and B. Again, that's not true, because we know it's not a 1-to-1 ratio, since it should be a 2-1-1 ratio, because 2A, 1AB, and 1B. So it cannot be answer B, and it cannot be C either. It's got to be D, 2-1-1 ratio, okay? So this was pretty simple if you just look at the Punnett grid that they made here for you. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Next. Okay, in humans, a V-shaped hairline is dominant to a straight hairline. So what is V-shaped hairline? This is a V-shaped hairline. They also call it by another name, which is called the widow's peak. The widow's peak. And this here is a straight hairline. So you'll notice if you look at people, sometimes they have this type of hairline or this one, okay? Now they're saying in this question that the V-shaped hairline is dominant compared to the straight hairline. A woman with a V-shaped hairline and a man with a straight hairline have children. So a woman with a V-shaped hairline and a man with a straight hairline are gonna have children. Now, so let's write out what we know then. So we know the man is gonna have two recessive alleles, okay? So let's just say we give this trait a T, okay? And small t means the recessive trait. So the only way this man can have a straight hairline, since the V-shaped hairline is dominant to the straight hairline, is the only way he can have the straight hairline is by having two recessive alleles. So we know the man will have the two recessive alleles. Now the woman has a V-shaped hairline. So how can you have a V-shaped hairline? If your alleles are either like this, so a dominant and a recessive, or a dominant and a dominant, okay? So either one is possible. Either one of those will give you the V-shaped hairline, because as long as you have a dominant allele, the dominant allele will mask the recessive allele to express the dominant trait, which is the V-shaped hairline. But we don't know which one. We don't know if it's going to be big T or big T small t. So we're going to have to keep reading the question. So the next sentence is, the woman has a mother with a straight hairline. Okay, this gives it away now, because now we know that this woman's mother has a straight hairline, and we know to have a straight hairline you must have small t, okay? And this means, based on inheritance, we know that you get one allele from your mom and one allele from your dad. So this woman will automatically receive one of these alleles, but since they're both small t, we know this woman will have one small t, and that means this will be her trait, because she has to have a big T since she has a V-shaped hairline, okay? And this big T, she definitely got from her dad, okay? So now that we know the combinations, they're real genotypes. What offspring can they have? Here we go. Okay, now let's look at the question. What is the proportion of children who are likely to have a V-shaped hairline? Okay, let's see. We can see half the children, 2 out of 4. So 50% chance that they will have a child with a V-shaped hairline. So half the children, it's gotta be A. Cool. So this one was quite tricky because you had to figure out the woman's genotype by knowing a little bit about her mom. So this is a trickier question, I must admit. Okay, so let's get to another one. The fourth one. This pedigree, so this is a pedigree chart, right? It shows the relationship between family members and a specific trait. This pedigree chart shows the blood types of 3 members of a family. So we know this is the dad because it's a square, and this is the mom because it's a circle. And they give us a clue here and tell us that the dad has blood group A. And these 2 parents have 3 kids, all of which are boys. And they can see one of the boys has blood group A and the other boy has blood group O. And they don't tell us what this boy has, and they don't tell us what the mom has. So I assume they're going to make us try and figure this out, which is what they're asking. Which could be the blood types of individuals 1 and 2. So let's figure this out. Let's use our knowledge. Okay, so we know that this boy right here has blood group O. And we know the only way from the previous here, the only way to get blood group O is by having 2 recessive alleles, 2 small i's. So we can automatically assign this guy 2 small i's, right? We know this is fact. He's gonna have this. And now we know the only way he could have gotten these 2 small i's if each of his parents had 1 i, at least 1 i, right? Because he needs to get 1 allele from each parent. So this parent definitely must have had 1 i at least, and the other parent must have had 1 small I at least, right? We can put it inside. Now we know that this parent is blood group A. So the only way he can be blood group A while having a small I, is by having this allele. They must have this allele, otherwise they can't be blood group A, okay? So we know this so far, okay? We know this. And we know that this person is also blood group A. And the only way he can be blood group A is if he has at least small I, big I, if he has this allele. He could also have both of them, so he could have this, and he could also have this and still be blood group A, okay? We don't know which one yet. We don't know which one he is, because we need to figure out what this parent has. But we can't figure it out, so we're gonna have to use these options, okay? Okay, good. Let's use these options. Is A possible? Is it possible that individual 1 could have blood type A, and individual 2 could have blood type AB? Let's see. So the only way this person could have blood type A is if this is the case, okay? Now, if this is the case, would it be possible for this individual 2 to have blood type AB? No, it's impossible, because there's no B. Neither of the parents have this allele, okay? So this is not possible. A is impossible. Okay, so let's remove that. How about B? So if individual 1 is AB, okay, so only way individual 1 could be AB is if they have this allele. Wait, no, this is wrong. They cannot have that allele because we know they need to have I, because otherwise this kid couldn't have it. So the only way, so it's impossible for this individual to have to be AB because they need to have I. So they cannot have, it's impossible to have both IB and IA as well. They can't, right? So it cannot be B. How about C? Is it possible for individual 1 to be O? Let's see. Okay, that would mean they need another I, okay? Now, having this, is it possible for individual 2 to have blood type B? No, because again, none of the parents have the B allele in this case, okay? So C is also not possible. So automatically we know it's D, but let's double check it. So can individual be blood type B? Yes, they can if they have a B allele, like this. Now, could this kid possibly have blood type A? Yes, if this parent passes on A and this parent passes on I, okay, then it's possible. So that's how D is the answer. So this really, to me, is a really, really tricky question. It's really quite hard to think about, but kind of use the method. You kind of want to fill in what you know and then go from there, okay? Don't think about the answer directly. Just fill in the diagram how you know it, and then from there, you go step by step, okay? Go step by step. Fill in what you know. Okay, let's go to this last one now. A woman who is a carrier for hemophilia and a man who does not have hemophilia have a child. What is the probability that the child will have hemophilia? So we know hemophilia is an X-linked trait. Remember, I showed you up here. It is on the X chromosome, okay? So they're saying, we're caring about this gene now, okay? And so they're saying now, coming back to the question, a woman who is a carrier. So the only way you can be a carrier, so again, we put a big X here because it's X-linked, and then we put the 2 alleles. Big H meaning dominant. If this is the allele that that you don't have hemophilia, and this one here is recessive, and this is the one that gives you hemophilia. Now the woman is a carrier, meaning she has both of these. Now if you have both of these, this dominant allele will mask the recessive allele. And so this woman will be a carrier, meaning she has the recessive allele, but she won't have the disease because this dominant one is going to overpower this recessive hemophilia allele. Now she has a kid with a man who does not have hemophilia. Okay, so the only way a man cannot have hemophilia is if their X chromosome has the dominant allele. Now these have kids now, and these are the possibilities. Okay, so let's see what they say. What is the probability that the child will have hemophilia? 0% if it's a girl. Let's see, where's the girls? These two are the girls. Yes, they will not have hemophilia. Neither of them will have hemophilia. It's impossible for a girl to have hemophilia. Remember, for a girl to have hemophilia, the dad must have hemophilia. Okay, so it's definitely, it could be A so far. 50% if it's a boy. Let's see, out of the boys, there are 2 boys possibilities. And yeah, 50% of it could have hemophilia because one boy, of the possible options of boys, 1 in 2 will have hemophilia. Okay, so that's possible. So the answer must be A. Let's just eliminate the rest though. So if it's a girl, 0%. Yeah, if it's a boy, 0%. No, that's wrong. Yeah, okay, the rest are just wrong because only one that's right is A. Okay, so that's it. So these are another 5 questions that we did. I hope it makes as much sense as possible. And in the future, I'll probably make another video because the more you do, more of these questions you do, the more likely they'll just show up on your class test and you'll just ace it. Okay.